We have seen where King Saul has been rejected by God. First of all, he offered a burnt offering, and only the priests were to do that. And he did that in chapter 13. And he disobeyed the Lord's command to set everything of the Amalekites aside for destruction. He saved the king, some of the animals, and he was supposed to set everything aside for destruction. But yet he gave in to the peer pressure of the people instead. And this caused him to be rejected by God. But as of right now, he is still in the position of king. He's been rejected, but not replaced. He knows David is to be king, and he tries to have him killed. And so Saul is threatened by David. He is threatened by him, and he wants to get rid of him. He wants to end his life. And in 1 Samuel chapter 21, we see where David is on the run. He is given in, and he's on the run, and he comes there to Nob. And as he goes there to Nob, he's given food, he's given the sword of Goliath. And King Saul discovers this. He hears about this. And how did he react? Let me read to you 1 Samuel 22, verse 9 through 18. Then Doeg the Edomite, who was in charge of Saul's servants, answered, I saw Jesse's son come to Ahimelech, son of Ahitub, at Nob. Ahimelech inquired of the Lord for him and gave him provisions. He also gave him the sword of Goliath the Philistine. And the king sent messengers to summon the priest Ahimelech, son of Ahitub, and his father's whole family, who were priests in Nob. All of them came to the king. Then Saul said, Listen, son of Ahitub, I am at your service, my lord, he said. Saul asked him, Why did you and Jesse's son conspire against me? You gave him bread and a sword and inquired of God for him, so he could rise up against me and wait in ambush, as is the case today. And Ahimelech replied to the king, Who among all your servants is as faithful as David? He is the king's son-in-law, captain of your bodyguard, and honored in your house. Was today the first time I inquired of God for him? Of course not. Please don't let the king make an accusation against your servant or any of my father's family, for your servant didn't have any idea about all this. But the king said, You will die, Ahimelech, you and your father's whole family. Then the king ordered the guards standing by him, turn and kill the priest of the Lord, because they sided with David. For they knew he was fleeing, but didn't tell me. But the king's servants would not lift a hand to execute the priest of the Lord. So the king said to Doeg, Go and execute the priest. So Doeg the Edomite went and executed the priest himself. And on that day he killed 85 men who wore the linen ephods. And so here we see three that I want to mention here. First, we see King Saul. He was living to preserve his kingship. He ignored God, and he was living for himself. Then we see Doeg the Edomite. Well, he wanted to lift himself up to the king. He wanted to rise above everyone else, and he lied to accomplish that. And then there were the priests who were faithful, and they were killed for their faithfulness. And these priests were the priests of God, and they served God. But Saul and Doeg, they lived for themselves. The priests lived for thee, meaning God, and Saul and Doeg living for themselves. They lived for me. And so ask yourself, who are you living for? Are you living for thee, or are you living for me? Join me again next time as we continue looking at David and his life.